Hi there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Halba.
I'm John Humphrey.
We're going to watch from Looper bloopers that will make you love the Avengers even more. I'm sure this is going to be them describing the bloopers with some footage, as opposed to just watching a great compilation of outtakes. Either way, Looper is one of the best channels, one of my personal favorites, so I'm excited to check this out. This is top reward tier request from a man named Mikhail Linden, Sexy Gentleman Spy, as I like to call him.
Ooh.
The bloopers from the Avengers films might be some of the funniest we've seen in a while. In fact, they're so funny that it's hard not to fall in love with the films all over again. In the realm of superheroes, especially Norse mythology-derived superheroes, you're only as good as your accessories. Thor has quite a few. His long red cape, his long blonde hair, and his mighty hammer Mjolnir. When it comes to his hammer, it's so tough and unbreakable that it took the might of Hela, the goddess of death, to finally break it in Thor Ragnarok. Maybe they got the idea for that moment from this blooper, in which Thor's magical hammer sure seems like a very breakable prop. One of the few things as iconic as Thor's hammer in the MCU is Captain America's shield. It's about as classic as superhero equipment gets, and it's so powerful that Cap routinely busts through walls and locks with it. Unfortunately, the real prop shield they use in the filming is a lot less useful than its fictional counterpart. It's easy for the comic book version of Bruce Banner to just rattle off scientific terms because someone could just scribble them into a speech bubble. It's clearly a bit harder for actors to say all those complicated words in real life. Just watch Mark Ruffalo as he struggles to deliver what's clearly a mouthful of technical mumbo-jumbo in the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Pluripotent cells inside a xylem, pluripotent cells into a xylem cycle.
In a deleted scene in Iron Man 3, Trevor Slattery successfully passes himself off as a Russian over the phone, which leads to Colonel James Rhodes asking him to try out a number of other voices. It's really just a chance for Academy Award-winning actor Sir Ben Kingsley to display his acting ability and dialect talent, because he can handle every suggestion actor Don Cheadle throws his way.
You're a Jamaican guy.
I come from Jamaica.
Hey, can you do French?
Alors, je suis français.
Can you do like a Spanish? I can do, but...
Shut up.
Well, almost every suggestion.
Can you do British?
Well, I'm British.
When Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk to punch a giant alien in the Avengers, it's a stand-up and clap moment. However, as it turns out, that wasn't exactly the first instinct that actor Mark Ruffalo had when facing down a CGI monstrosity.
Dude, you're on your own!
Considering how terrifying the aliens looked on the big screen, it's hard to fault Ruffalo's acting instincts. Paul Bettany used to just provide the voice of Jarvis in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but these days he's using his whole self to play Vision. Bettany is barely recognizable under all that red makeup. While he certainly looks the part of the super advanced robot, he's acting more like a malfunctioning computer in this blooper from Captain America Civil War.
As Maximoff manipulates molecular molecular.
One of the most impressive things about the MCU is that the actors are able to take it all seriously when surrounded by goofy costumes and CGI monsters.
Yes.
It's the kind of true commitment to character that explains why they get paid so much. However, that doesn't mean there aren't a few moments where that seriousness cuts out. In this lineup of stern, determined-looking heroes for Avengers Infinity War, Benedict Wong just couldn't keep the steely resolve in his face for more than a few seconds. Spider-Man Homecoming included one of the most memorable cameos in MCU history, when Chris Evans' Captain America pops in via green-screened video to deliver some corny educational advice to the students of Peter's high school.
So, you got detention. You screwed up.
However, one particular video is just a bit too over the top for Evans to make it through without cracking up.
Hi, I'm Captain America. Whether you're a student or a soldier, there's one thing that will always give you an edge. A hot lunch.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was packed with plenty of car chases through San Francisco, a city full of steep hills, big curves, and tons of traffic. In this blooper, Paul Rudd gets into character as he prepares to shoot one of those sequences.
Good scene, everyone. Let's have fun with this one. Best scene in the movie. Is it bad if I start to sing like this?
An MCU movie made in the last few years just wouldn't be complete without a Stan Lee appearance, and Ant-Man and the Wasp had one of the legendary creator's best cameos. As Scott Lang, Hope Van Dyne, and their associates battle bad guys through the twisty streets of San Francisco, Lee shows up as a guy whose car gets shrunk by Ant-Man's signature technology.
Well, the 60s were fun, but now I'm paying for it.
It turns out that's just the take filmmakers decided on. They had Lee go through a huge list of funny possibilities.
Oh, no, my sandwich was in there. Well, at least now I'll be able to park in San Francisco.
The two Ant-Man movies are pretty much the funniest of all the MCU standalone flicks. The casts of both feature performers with a knack for comedy, including Walton Goggins, Michael Pena, Randall Park, and Judy Greer. Even so, it's a pleasant surprise for viewers to suddenly encounter Tim Heidecker, a comedy innovator known for his bizarre, boundary-pushing work on cult TV favorites like Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, he plays the leader of a San Francisco Bay boat tour guide. Some of Heidecker's best lines were unfortunately left for the blooper reel, though.
I freak for whales. I loved them ever since I was a kid. I'm not trained really in biology or knowing anything about them. I've memorized a couple of facts, but I couldn't go deep.
Black Panther is a crowning achievement in filmmaking, and it also gave the world one of the all-time great movie catchphrases. It even makes an appearance in Avengers Infinity War. Since Black Panther's release in early 2018, millions have flashed each other the crossed arms salute. By now, everyone knows how to say Wakanda correctly. But during the film's production, a few cast members had trouble getting it down. In this clip, neither Martin Freeman nor Danai Gurira are confident in their ability.
That thing that was on your arm is from Wakanda?
Wakanda.
Doctor Strange was a harder sell than your typical superhero movie. After all, Dr. Stephen Strange's powers come from an ability to connect with the worlds of mysticism and magic. To effectively ground that in reality, the filmmakers required the services of an actor with extensive classical training and an impressive resume full of award-winning dramatic roles. That actor? Benedict Cumberbatch, who earned widespread acclaim for his work in Sherlock and The Imitation Game. But who knew that Cumberbatch could be so silly? Underneath all the pomp and circumstance, he's just as goofy on set as a wacky comic actor. Judging from this blooper reel, he's especially down to get down, breaking into dance routines while filming his scenes. It's apparently contagious because most of his co-stars got in on the dance craze too. One of television's longest-running hits is America's Funniest Home Videos. Debuting in 1990, this long-running series has delighted the masses with miles of poorly shot and grainy footage of grown men getting hit in the private parts. The MCU movies, for all their big-budget set pieces, aren't immune to that simple joy getting included on the blooper reel.
Did I get your testicles?
I'm good. Fine.
In the 80s and 90s, Jeff Goldblum brought a disarming charm and off-center sensibility to his roles in otherwise straightforward movies like Jurassic Park and Independence Day. In doing so, he made them much better than they would have otherwise been without him. It makes sense then that when director Taika Waititi took the Thor movies in a cosmic and comedic direction with Thor Ragnarok, he brought Goldblum in for a role. Goldblum plays the Grand Master, the most hedonistic of all the elders of the universe. The actor brings his trademark looseness and an almost jazz-like approach to the movie, which is noticeable even when he's goofing off between takes.
Watch this.
Wow.
Loki, take it away.
Thor's wardrobe is about as eye-catching as the lightning that often accompanies the character. In addition to Chris Hemsworth's own indisputable good looks, Thor usually rocks a tight metal shirt, rad pants, and one undeniably great cape. But while the accessory might be stylish, it can be pretty temperamental. On the set of Thor: The Dark World, Hemsworth tries his best to act, but he has trouble due to an unpredictable co-star, his cape. Science fiction films and superhero movies are full of mythology, backstory, and their own sets of rules. Iron Man 3 is a sci-fi film as well as a superhero movie, and it's got a lot of specific words and jargon its actors need to clearly and slowly deliver, so the action around them makes sense. It's a delicate balance to nail the terminology that's been part of a comic or cinematic universe for years, so it satisfies both hardcore and new fans alike. That's why Marvel and its filmmakers hire top-notch talent to deliver the written lines. Actors like Robert Downey Jr. have the training, skill, and talent necessary to say all the technical talk in a believable way. Still, sometimes it's hard to get those words out, because even for an actor of Downey's caliber, there's a lot to remember. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark has to recall his various super suits. There are a lot of them, and in this blooper, Downey Jr. needs the assistance of the Heartbreaker armor to help out the armor whose name escapes him.
Heartbreaker, will you help? What's his name?
Red Snapper.
While the MCU movies enjoy a lot of cast overlap for their various superheroic characters, Black Panther came out of nowhere to introduce many fantastic characters to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It also had the added benefit of making huge stars out of the actors and actresses who portrayed them. Chadwick Boseman had attained some fame after playing Jackie Robinson and James Brown in 42 and Get On Up, respectively, while Lupita Nyong'o achieved her breakthrough with 12 Years a Slave. Now they're A-listers, thanks to their roles at the top of the cast of this superhero action blockbuster. Denai Guerrera established a big screen career for herself beyond her role as the katana-wielding Michonne on The Walking Dead, but in this blooper, she's quickly and effectively upstaged by yet another breakout MCU star, a goat.
I know you have found something. A sense of peace.
Okay, now you are going too far now.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.
Thank you for putting that together, Looper. Ooh, yeah. Really well edited. You can really feel the bloopers.
Oh yeah, they really breathe in this format. This is the way all bloopers are meant to be seen.
Yes, described, telling us what we're gonna see, really setting up almost every moment that it's gonna happen in the blooper, and then 5 seconds, sometimes less.
Just a little nugget, just to give us a taste, to give us an inkling for what might have been funny about this.
I mean, with the prop comedy stuff, that's something that I've always thought was impressive about what these superheroes have to do. Yeah. When I was at Screen Junkies recently, they had Mjolnir, Mommy. They had the hammer, and picking it up, it was so light. Looks that way with Cap's shield, too. Mm-hmm. And it just dawned on me of just how good of an actor you have to be in order to do something like that. Because you'll feel silly, you'll feel dumb. I mean, you're looking in the outfits, and everything's gonna get updated in post-production with the right lighting and the symmetry of the angles and all the visual effects. But when you're holding those props, I can only imagine just how stupid you might initially feel doing that, and you really gotta sell that. And I don't feel like there's so many superhero movies now that we don't really take the time to just appreciate how well these guys do at selling these things that just can feel kind of dumb when you're not aware of, you know, just the fact that there's a camera rolling on you.
Oh yeah, well, and a lot of those weapons are made of foam, so you know they're really easy to warp or bend or break, like you saw with Mjolnir's, you know, hammer part just coming clean off the handle. I always find the physical stuff kind of funny too, because in these movies, you know, like everybody's got to fight each other and stuff like that, and I always wonder in those hero shots how many stray nut punches come out, you know, because these suits also have to be pretty constrictive too, so I can't imagine that that's the most comfortable position to be in, especially when somebody like gets you with a stray staff or hammer or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. You know, people say like, oh, it's kind of surprising how goofy some of these actors really are, especially the more serious ones. Like, to me, I don't really ever see any of Chadwick Boseman's goofy side, like, in interviews or anything like that. And he plays a pretty straightforward character who doesn't really behave all that silly. I mean, I feel like Chris Evans, we all know that because of the fact of how he had a lot of comedic roles prior to Captain America.
Now, picture that. But everywhere.
We know he can be funny and everything, even though Captain America is a pretty serious dude for the most part. But people like Benedict Cumberbatch, that doesn't surprise me, especially British actors. I feel like we tend to be surprised with the very serious British actors because of how talented they are with the dramatic weight they bring to roles, but usually they're very silly people. Like the British people especially tend to be very goofy.
Oh yeah, well I gotta imagine that for these films especially, with as much longevity and as much crossover as there is, there's gotta be a family vibe that sort of cultivates. Like I was actually kind of surprised to see all those different people dancing on the set of Doctor Strange, like even Mads Mikkelsen was goofing around in there at one point. But I think my very, very favorite ones out of these, and these are the ones that make me wish these videos could breathe more, is the ones where you just have like a bunch of different takes of a riff of some kind, like with the Stan Lee cameo of him just coming up with funny things to say, or like with the Captain America PSAs, like all the different things he must have had to do for that. That one, out of all of them, was probably one of the few that really made me laugh, even for how brief it's presented here, because most of these clips just make me go, okay, well, I want to pull out the DVD and see what these bloopers are actually like. But the whole thing about, you know, like a hot lunch really tickled me in this.
I love watching bloopers. Especially for comedy shows, I actually love to watch, like, oh, season 4 blooper reel of Friends, and when I watch those, they make me laugh, but they have to be in compilation format. What I'm surprised we didn't get any of in here is none of Tom Holland. Tom Holland seems like he's the loosest one of them all, or like Chris Pratt. Like a little bit of Paul Rudd, of course. But maybe the video's intention was to show you the guys who are more serious being a little more goofy. But yeah, people like Tom Holland or Chris Pratt, these dudes who are just so funny in interviews naturally, I'm surprised we didn't get any of those guys in this compilation.
Yeah, me too. Well, I feel like all the Tom Holland bloopers would just be him spoiling things about the MCU. And then Kevin Feige having to tackle him and shut him up.
But I really did like seeing the Trevor Slattery ones too. I don't think any of those were used in the movie, were they? I don't recall that happening. Anyway, this was a fun little thing to dissect. I always love the footage of these guys. This was great. Thank you, Looper, for putting this together. Hey, guys, why don't you do yourselves a favor and subscribe to Looper. It'll make your day a whole lot better. Might make my day better, too. And if you've never heard of them, tell them the Real Rejects sent you. I'd love to work with these guys one day, if they'd let me. Mikhail, thanks so much for requesting this, man. When we spoke recently, you said you were satisfied, overall pretty happy with the way Game of Thrones ended. That sentence in itself is a blooper. How can anyone be satisfied with it? It's not divisive. It's objectively a bad series finale. I feel like I should just say I respect your subjective opinion. I truthfully don't. As a matter of fact, you've lost a lot of street cred with me. Now you have to increase your pledge to make up for this silly, silly statement that you made.
Yeah, you know. Jump up there, add another $20, another $50, whatever you think is fair, really. I want you to really think about what you've said and what you've done here.
Anytime you seem a little dumb to me, that's another $1 on the Patreon.
Boom.
Don't forget that. In all seriousness, if you end up increasing your pledge because of this sarcastic comment, you really don't have to even tell us. We will see it in the notifications and we don't have to talk about it any further. Guys, subscribe. Take care.